Welcome back to beautiful Nicaragua, and today we're going to answer the question, an important question. When's the best time to come to Nicaragua for weather? Are you looking for the hot season? Are you looking for the cooler times? Or maybe you like the rain? Well, today we're going to be diving right into that. My name is Elton and I run this YouTube channel called Immense Coffee Movement. I've been living in Nicaragua for more than 2 years, have experienced all these weather shifts. I'm your local brother here in Nicaragua, so we're gonna talk about the weather here, when's the best months to come, and what to expect. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So let's talk a little bit about the hot season here in Nicaragua. My experience these past 2 years, and more than that because I've been coming here for over 10 years, this is the hot season. So after, I would say, end of February, things start to dry up here in Nicaragua. So all this lush green that you see behind me here is gonna start turning brown, just like in any country once you hit summer. Now, after March, all the way up to November, in my opinion, it is hot. Between March to June, July, it is unbearably hot. It's like one of the months here that it gets very high, close between 29 to 32 C, and it just gets extremely hot. And this really depends on what you can handle in terms of heat. If you're okay with that, then you're gonna love it. But if you're sleeping in a room with no air conditioning, it's gonna be hell for you, to be honest. So if you're coming to Nicaragua and you're getting an Airbnb, do yourself a favor. And if it's summertime, get an Airbnb with AC so you can sleep comfortably at night. Because if not, you're gonna be sweating your butt off while trying to sleep, and that is not good. Now, when it comes to heat, heat can be experienced differently across each city in Nicaragua. So let's talk about Managua a little bit. So Managua's elevation is closer to the ocean level, and Managua is down south of Nicaragua. Managua is the capital, and that is where everyone lands when they're coming to Nicaragua. Managua is gonna have a high humidity in the air. That means that you feel the thickness of the air. It just feels sticky. It sticks on you and you get sweaty. You really can't get cool. You feel like your body can't cool itself unless you step into some nice AC, but that's different, right? So Managua, San Juan del Sur, any cities down south all get that way. I would say that Managua, León, Granada, those areas get hotter and they get more sticky for some reason. Now, San Juan del Sur, you still have that really hot air, but it's not as sticky as Managua would be or those other cities that I mentioned. Now, when you start moving up north Nicaragua, start moving towards Matagalpa, start moving towards Jinotega or Nueva Segovia, where I'm at right now, you start pushing towards higher elevation and you start moving to a different region of Nicaragua. Now, the heat here is different. It's still hot, but the air is not as thick. The air is light. It's dry air. Like right now, it feels amazing with this beautiful wind. If I was in Managua right now, this would feel very sticky. So when you come to Nicaragua during the summertime, you're gonna experience a dry Nicaragua. So everything will be brown. If you go to Managua, San Juan del Sur, it's gonna be incredible heat. So make sure you bring sunscreen to protect yourself and just have that mentality that it's summer. Hey, anywhere you go in summer, it's always gonna be hot. If you wanna come here during summer but are looking for cooler weather, then I suggest come up to the mountains. Come experience this side of Nicaragua. It's higher elevation, so that means that the air is gonna be cooler, especially at night. But it still gets very hot to a point where if you're in a city that you're not too far up north, you'll still need AC. Real quick, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And I'm gonna tell you 3 things why you should consider subscribing. I've been living here for more than 2 years, so I am a local guide to Nicaragua, and I can give you insider tips to living abroad, living in a different country, and everything that comes with Central America. I've traveled through Honduras, Guatemala, Costa Rica, so I have a lot of experience. Number 2, I'm building a beautiful coffee farm out here in Nicaragua. It's my family's coffee farm I inherited after my family passed away, my dad and grandma, and so I make content about that. I interact with locals, I document the behind the scenes of your daily cup of joe, your daily cup of coffee. And number 3, I produce weekly videos. Right now I'm doing 1 video a week. Eventually I'll get to 2 and I'll get to 3. So I suggest subscribing to this movement. The more people subscribe, the more we can do here in beautiful Nicaragua, the more coffee we can produce, and the more we can fuel the world. So pretty soon we're gonna dive into when's the best month to come to Nicaragua. But before we do so, we need to talk about the wet season a little bit. Now, for us living here, what we've experienced this year was a little bit of a drier wet season. Nicaragua, you still get rain throughout the year, but the wet season, you get heavy rain. For example, in October, we were in San Juan del Sur, which is the south side of Nicaragua. That is where everyone goes to surf, and it is the worst month to go surfing. That is because it rains so much. It just introduces all this river water into the ocean. It's all murky. There's a bunch of driftwood floating around, and it's hard to go surf. So October, I would say try to avoid the beach or coming to Nicaragua if you really want to surf. If you're coming to Nicaragua and you don't care about surfing, you don't care about the rain, you might be able to get away with it because it'll be cooler weather. So October was a very heavy rain set for us in Nicaragua, and I noticed that the beach was a little bit tougher to get along with because of everything, all the water flooding in. I still went fishing personally and I was able to catch some fish, but thankfully we had 2 days of good weather. If it would have continued raining heavily, we never would have been able to fish because it would have just been so murky. So the wet season, I would say, was very heavy for us here in October. November, we still got rain. Right now, December, we're filming this video in December. I'm probably gonna release it maybe like a couple weeks out from now. We've seen a lot of rain up north of Nicaragua. So I have a farm up in the mountains, and this last week we got over 6 days of straight rain, thunderstorm rains. So still in December, you get rain. Now in December is when the wind starts. You can see how windy it is right now. This is where the wind starts to pick up, but the most windy month in Nicaragua is actually January. So January is my favorite month personally because the rain calms down, it starts to prep itself for the dry season, but everything is still green, but the wind is here and we still have the cooler weather. So that's what we're experiencing, we've been seeing. Now, when I say cool weather, it's really not cold, it's just more fresh. The weather is nice, it's enjoyable, you don't sweat as much when you go out. I'm glad you guys are getting to experience this because this is part of the reason why I love Nicaragua. It's just the weather and the landscapes and this beautiful lush green that we have here. So now let's get into when should you come to Nicaragua and what to look for when you're coming here. So that personal question depends on what you're looking to do. So if you're coming to Nicaragua to surf, you're gonna wanna come when it's the best waves, regardless of the weather, because that is your number one. Now, I'm not a surfer myself. As far as I know, I keep on learning more about surfing because it's such a big culture down south, is that October's pretty bad. I would say that March is good, but go online and research some blogs there and see which months are the best to come surfing. So whether that's dead summer, then you're gonna come in dead summer so you can catch some very good waves and be outside. Just bring some sunscreen. Or if you don't use sunscreen, just burn your back, who cares? But either way, I would suggest trying to find a place with an AC unit if you can. If not, it's gonna be pretty hot, if you do come on summer. Now, if you're not coming for surfing, if you're just coming to Nicaragua to explore, then I would suggest coming to Nicaragua when it's lush green because it's a different feel, it's a different vibe. It's so much more gorgeous. There's over 100 different layers of greens that you see here. Everything is fruiting. You have the fruits, the avocados, the jocotes, the mangoes, the guayabas. Everything is just coming out. It's a beautiful time of year. Now, what months would that be? Well, in my opinion, the best months to come to Nicaragua are between October to February. And that right there is a big window. And I say October if you're not surfing. You can come here, you can kind of live past the rainy season. You'll have days where it will rain. But if you only have PTO in the window for that, come towards the end of October. But you will catch a lot of rain. Now, November, you'll still catch rain, but less, and it's starting to get cooler. In December, at night, it is freaking nice. It is cool weather, it is windy. It's what you see around me right now, this beautiful weather. Now, January is my favorite month. January is the windy season. It's still cool and it's still green. So that month right there, all of January is perfect. Then you can get into February a little bit still, It's gonna get hotter towards the end of February and stop raining. It's gonna get drier. There'll be a lot of dust in the air. Then March forward is gonna be hot. Now, there is 1 month in the hot season that I would say you could come to Nicaragua if you wanted to experience a cultural event, and that is in August and September. Those 2 months, usually they do El Hípico. El Hípico is where they do horse caravans and they bring out their best horses, and these horses can dance and do tricks. And it's a big celebration time here in Nicaragua. Now, during those 2 months also too, there is a month, I believe in September, where for some reason it stops raining overall and the weather becomes a little bit cooler. So it's like a September gap. It's kind of odd, but it does happen here in Nicaragua. Now keep in mind, throughout the year, it will still continue to rain, but it will be less frequently. The rain will dwindle away so much that it will become the dry season. I remember picking up a friend from the airport one time, and when he stepped out of the airport, the Managua airport, into Managua, he was shook. It was like this wave, like someone threw a blanket on him, like those blanket warmers you sleep with at night when it's really cold or freezing outside. But then it felt to him like someone threw it on him, but then the sun was 100 degrees. So for some reason, for some people, it's gonna be a big shock when they step into a tropical climate, specifically Managua, León, and Granada, Tiriamba, Nindiri, Masaya. All that region there of down south is gonna be hot. So just be mentally prepared to sweat your butt off and actually be able to adapt to that kind of heat. Now, right now, if they stepped out of the airport, they would be greeted with some nice weather here in December, and it wouldn't matter too much, you know. Now, something to keep in mind, if you're the type of person that wants to miss the crowds, meaning you don't want the influx of people around you, or you don't want a lot of tourists or expats or whatever it is, you rather travel in the down season, then December is very heavy with people. I just came from the airport a week ago and it was packed. The plane packed with people from the Netherlands, Germany, Canada, people coming to visit Nicaragua. December is definitely a peak season, and it dwindles in a little bit into January. So something to think about too is that if you're coming to Nicaragua and you want to avoid all these crowds, maybe the slightly higher prices because it is tourist season, then I would suggest skipping December and coming a month earlier or a month after that to try to avoid those huge crowds. Now, if you don't care and you want to meet people, you want people here because you maybe want to go party in San Juan del Sur, or you want to meet some new people, then come in December. That's when people from all over the world are going to be here in Nicaragua having a good time, enjoying this beautiful country. I think with this information now, you're officially a pro at coming to Nicaragua. And when you do arrive here, you're going to know what to expect and you're going to enjoy your trip a lot more. And if that happens, I am extremely happy because that means I provided value to you. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and like. Comment below if there's any questions about weather, or if you want more videos like this about just general topics in life in Central America. I'll see you guys. Hasta luego. It is your coffee brother signing off.